Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to CGX, and this is US military just obliterated the IRGC forces that attacked our troops. This was a max afterburner. How did I miss this one? So a big event happened. Obviously, missiles hit Jordan base. Yeah, it was a Jordan, right? Yeah, Jordan base, and two of the US soldiers got killed, and a few of them got injured in that missile strike. Yeah, obviously there's gonna be response about it, and there probably was, and more, I'm guessing, because the bombing has been continuing for days now. But yeah, there was an immediate response apparently, using F-16s, F-35s, Tomahawk cruise missiles. When USA brings out Tomahawk, yeah, they're doing the serious thing because they cost a lot, right? So they are like very serious about this bombing. This wasn't some F-15E dropping payload. No. It was Tomahawk cruise missiles. This is our channel Max Afterburner. Obviously, it's been a while since I did this one. Let's do this one.
Good morning, everybody. It's July 19th, 2026, and we've got fresh strikes rippling across of Iran, but they're focused on what looks to be deeply buried ballistic missile facilities, also IRGC headquarters. So revenge is in full effect from the service members that were targeted and hit in Jordan. This footage right here, CENTCOM released it last night around 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. This is the 8th consecutive night of American air power raining down.
I think it's what 9 or 10 days now. As we speak, Iran is launching attacks on more bases. Let's hope everybody's safe now, right? Because this was effed up. If this happens again, yeah, that will just amplify.
Across Iran. We're talking Bandar Abbas, all the way from the south, all the way to Tehran, that is getting absolutely struck. Coastal surveillance facilities are gone. We're looking at ballistic missile infrastructure with some of the biggest explosions we've seen, and bunker buster bombs going in and crushing the IRGC air defense sites, missile and drone storage, maritime capabilities. 8 nights in a row, and last night was different than the others. CENTCOM didn't just degrade forces in the 8th round of strikes. They used statements that they haven't used so far in this campaign, and that is swiftly punish, retaliation, revenge for what Iran did to the service members in Jordan. So this isn't a press release. This is a message that could be written by the B-52, definitely by the F-16, EA-18G, F-15E. Electronic warfare teams up perfectly with the B-52. So has the B-52 entered back into this conflict? Not confirmed yet, but we're going to talk about how its JASSMs, its Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missiles extended range, got you your acronym early today, how those might be perfect for the exact strikes that we're seeing right now. And the B-52 teams up perfectly with EA-18G Growler's electronic attack. And the reason for this not so uncertain message to the IRGC, 2 American service members tragically were hit in Jordan by an Iranian ballistic missile. That was on Friday. The IRGC attacked the base with ballistic missiles and drones, and they thought the conversation was over. No, that was just the beginning of the conversation. Unfortunately, it looked like some of the interceptor missiles attempted to hit the ballistic missile. They were able to hit multiple of them, but obviously a lucky jab can come through. CENTCOM started round 8 before Iran's
That was the real footage, right? That's so grim. See, the thing about the modern world is we're gonna get real footages a lot. But the problem with that is those are real footages. We are witnessing things happening live, which is effed up, right? And yeah, it's just numbers. It's just statistic when it comes to interception. Doesn't matter how good of a technology you have, there is always a chance one of the missiles can pass through. That's just effed up part, man.
Generals could even start writing a press release, even though they did write a lot. The rhetoric is obviously high at this point. But we're going to talk operationally about what it looks like for a B-52 to team up with an F-16 and an EA-18G Growler, how that symphony of air power actually works. Would the B-52 be doing long-range strikes with its JASSMs? Could it actually be over top of Iranian territory right now? We're going to talk about all of that. And then also, Iran launched more ballistic missiles towards Jordan yesterday, and they were intercepted by Israel, and some of the debris fell into Israel itself. So is Iran trying to warn Israel? We'll get into all of that throughout this video. And then stay for the global roundup section, because what Ukraine Ukraine just did in Russia is absolutely mind-blowing. This is a little snippet of what they did to a warehouse near Moscow. And this might be the biggest strategic target hit in all of the war. So that'll come up about 3/4 of the way through the video. So basically, CENTCOM's launching Night 8. Looks like Night 9 is the next thing on the menu for Iran. But let's talk about what happened in Jordan and what the specifics are that allowed that Iranian ballistic missile to get through. So CENTCOM confirmed that 2 U.S. service members were KIA as partner forces defended against Iranian ballistic missiles and drone attacks. So before I go any further, I just want to say that this is tragic, terrible. These are national treasures, and prayers go out to the family of these service members. And it looks like one other service member is currently missing in action at the time of this video being produced. 4 others were medically evaluated and all since have been released from the hospital. And
What does that mean, missing in action? In the base, in the US base? So like debris is clearing and like trying to find him. Is that what's happening?
returned to duty. The 2 who fell are the 15th and 16th American service members to lose their lives in the Iran war. The first to fall since the opening days of the conflict, though, and Trump said this was a very sad thing and called it the ultimate price and the ultimate sacrifice paid to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, to protect all of the rest of the world. The State Department issued a worldwide caution alert to all Americans globally. This is the first since the opening weeks of the war. So kind of going back to that same threat level, the world just got a little bit smaller at this point, but the stakes have gotten incredibly higher, especially for the IRGC. The IRGC knew what it was firing.
Why the warning to Americans worldwide? Isn't it supposed to be just in Middle East and Iran, around that? Why are Americans would be threatened anywhere else? I don't know. I guess it's just a thing you do like worldwide, yeah.
At, obviously. This wasn't some targeting adaptation that they did last minute. They've been strategically looking to do this for a long time. Iranian ballistic missiles targeted that base in Jordan, and Jordan is a country that's been defending against Iranian attacks for weeks, intercepting Iranian ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, drones on multiple consecutive nights. And Jordan is a massive ally of the United States. Same with Kuwait. And Iran just announced this, which is wild. They just said that they're considering a ground campaign in Kuwait to go in and seize the U.S. military bases. Well, good luck with that. Snowball's chance in hell that'll happen without air superiority, especially.
Kuwait is considered one of Iran's principal options for a potential ground incursion aimed at seizing the 2 U.S. military base. I mean, that would be insanely stupid. I hope Iran doesn't try to do that, because that would change the landscape of how things are working. Right now, everybody's trying to bomb each other. That would change how military warfare is going to be happening in the future. This will give a US option. Like, now we have to put, like troops on the ground. You don't want something like that happening. That's a problem. So if Iran does that, like, yeah, US is going to be like, okay, send in the troops. Send in the Marines. They're already there.
But again, the IRGC, who knows? They're crazy enough to potentially even try it. But here's CENTCOM's answer, and it came in hours, not just days. Obviously, the 8th consecutive night of strikes was going to happen anyways, but it looks like IRGC headquarters, potentially even bunkers, were targeted that could be connected to leadership. So will there be more targeting of leadership and retribution for these strikes? That will be determined here soon. But the statement from CENTCOM was the strikes are designed to further degrade Iran's ability to threaten commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz and swiftly punish Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps forces who launched attacks against American service members in Jordan last night. This is retribution for that. Swiftly punish IRGC
Look at
forces.
the size.
And we all know that the presidents in Iran,
It looks like apocalypse, man. The level of smokes are rising.
if you can call them that, they're IRGC forces as well. They just changed uniforms. So these guys all came up through the IRGC, and one day they just put a suit on. They're like, oh yeah, look at us. We're so magnanimous. We're here to protect our countrymen. It's like, oh wait, didn't you guys order the execution of like 10,000 of your countrymen before putting that suit on? And they're like, yeah, but now we're different. Now we're presidents. Yay. That's the vibe I get from these IRGC presidents that are up in charge. And Majabta Khamenei has recently been posting saying that the US violated the MOU. So again, totally trying to flip the script and gaslight, just like a good terrorist, radical Islamic cleric should do, basically staying true to who he is. You know, a zebra can't change its stripes, a scorpion's gonna sting, and the Majabta Khomeini cardboard Ayatollah is gonna gaslight. It's all kind of teamed up into one. Then swiftly punish the IRGC forces, first time in 8 nights that CENTCOM has explicitly named the IRGC.
I'm pretty sure Iran attacked few cargo ships, then some Indian ships, then also some more ships from like Panama, right? And then, as a last straw, they destroyed a Saudi and like some Middle Eastern like boats, like tankers. That was the last straw. After that, Trump's like, I'm done with this, and Trump was literally angry the way he was responding. Like, to me, the MOU is dead. Jared can do his things, and I guess I'll see about it. But to me, it's dead. Something like that. So like it's saying like America broke the MOU is kind of weird. Like you've been bombing the like ships in Strait of Hormuz for days at that point.
IRGC as the target of retaliatory action. So it's basically become personal at this point. And that's how it goes in the military. When your brothers or sisters in arms are targeted, then it definitely gets personal for those involved. It stays professional, and you lock on and you take care of the mission, but in the back of your mind, you know you're doing it for the fallen. So the language here has been the big shift in the story. And that brings in what the US platforms could be. The strike platforms haven't fully been confirmed yet, but we know that there has been multiple iterations, multiple sorties going on of B-52s in and around Fairford or in and around other bases in England as they potentially fly combat missions. Again, not fully confirmed yet, but 3 platforms are perfectly suited and teamed up for exactly what we're seeing go on right now. Well,
why am I surprised seeing this? Why does that wingspan looks insane to me now? This is a different angle or something like damn, that's insane. Look at the wingspan.
I guess 4, because you got to count the carrier strike group that's absolutely decimating these targets with Tomahawk cruise missiles. So carrier strike group, you're amazing. Don't worry, I brought you in last second. Hey, at least I remembered. But 3 platforms in the air specifically that I wanted to talk about today. And that would be the B-52, the F-16, and the EA-18G Growler. These are an unlikely trio. No one really thinks about how these things could team up, which is exactly why I wanted to cover it today. Because this is the team that Iran's air defense planners never even wargamed against. This is the team that she warned you about. And Iran's like, what? Which team? Which trio? Well, we're going to talk about it right now. The EA-18G Growler, this package goes all night and it makes everything go dark. So the doctrine here is nothing about this package works without the EA-18G going in first and doing the jamming. The Growler is the electronic warfare specialist, a 2-seat carrier-capable aircraft from the FA-18F Super Hornet, and the weapons replaced with an AN/ALQ-99 jamming system and AGM-88 high-speed anti-radiation missiles. Yeah. When the Growler is not awesome enough as it is, let's throw some anti-radiation missiles on it that are basically half the size of a telephone pole. That sounds like a good...
Yeah, anti-radiation like harm, right? Those are awesome missiles, but you can put that on like F-16 and other planes as well. What makes Growler awesome is like certain passive system. It can really confuse the thing it's attacking. Make it think like there are multiple ghost things there, even though it's not there. That makes me think like, can't you make some kind of like an attack system against ballistic missiles? Like a battery, but it's like electronic warfare that confuses that missile and changes its GPS target while on the way. Because intercepting is great, but if you can do something like that, it would just flip it, like it would basically go somewhere else, like shoot somewhere else, right? I mean, if Growler can confuse radars and confuse radar with different objects and targets, why can't you change like actively hack coordinates? I'm sure America's working on something like that. One day we'll see something like that.
Time. Wait, is that the cure to loneliness these days? The friendless epidemic? Just go out with your friends with anti-radiation missiles strapped to your EA-18G Growler. But its job is to blind Iran's integrated air defense network before the B-52 cruise missiles or F-16 JDAMs ever arrive on target. Here's how it works. Iran's air defense radar turns on to try to track the incoming package. The Growler reads that radar emission, identifies the frequency, and has 2 options. It can jam it electronically electronically, flooding the frequencies with noise until the radar operator's screen goes white. Yeah, it's so bad that it doesn't even make the screen go black. It makes it go white. That's actually the bigger middle finger. If you turn it off and make it go black, then he's just like, oh, maybe I had a power outage. No, your screen goes white. They should put like a big laughing emoji that's just like, ho, 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 ho. I think that would be the way to go. Or it can actually ride the emission back to the source with a harm missile, basically dialing in that radar beam, and it can take that radar site off the air permanently. That's going to be a lot more than making the screen go white. In practices, though, it does both, often simultaneously against multiple emitters. By the time the strike package arrives over the target, Iran's radar picture basically looks like a blizzard, and the operators are flying blind. The operators need ski goggles at that point. The Growler doesn't make the news, it makes the news possible. So it's that one that goes in. It's basically the offensive line. Doesn't necessarily get all the credit, isn't necessarily the sexy jet out there, but it's making it all happen. And it all goes back to clearing that electronic pathway so that the EA-18G Growler can allow whatever is behind it, which could be that beautiful B-52, the sugar daddy of bombers, basically been flying for 70 years and still carries the biggest package of them all. Yeah, 70,000 plus pounds of ordnance, and it's 70 years old. Yeah, at this point, I think this is competing with the Young Bucks pretty well. The F-16, sometimes called the Fighting Falcon. Little known note there. Anybody who's flown it will typically call it the Viper. If someone who's flown it calls it the Fighting Falcon, I'd be like, hey, are you doing okay today? Is everything okay at home? Because you just called the F-16 the Fighting Falcon. And no one really wants to call it the Fighting Falcon. 30 years of combat compressed into one night. The F-16 Block 52 and Block 50 is the precision strike workhorse of this campaign, and it's been operating for decades. It has been doing this job longer than most of Iran's air defense operators have been alive, likely. The F-16's A and A.
This is a small thing. You see that?
G68 radar and GBU-38.
Yeah, those are the cheap missile, right? Like slim, I forgot, like, I'm pretty sure I remember watching Max Afterburner video on it. It's very cheap to take out drones and something, right? And it's very slim and it's very accurate in its own way. So like, that's all, like you can put a pod there and pod can have like eight different missiles. So one pod alone is like 8 missiles. That's powerful.
JDAMs can combine the ability to put precision munitions on target through a window in a specific building in weather against a target that was identified hours earlier by ISR that the pilot hasn't seen until he or she is stepping out to the jet. The F-16 is handling the close-range precision delivery in this package, also the one that could be absolutely decimating IRGC headquarters, coastal radar nodes, their surveillance installations, the maritime capability sites that require point-on-point accuracy rather than full area effect. All right, now enter the big swing and you know what? The Grand Sugar Daddy. I think there's a Granddaddy Sugar Daddy. The Grand Sugar Daddy, I think is what I'm going to call the B-52 Stratofortress, the aircraft that was flying before Iran's government was even born. And it's the B-52H. Stratofortress entered service in 1961. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps was founded in 1979. The B-52 is 18 years older than the organization it's currently targeting and has been updated so many times since 61 that the only original.
That is insane to hear that B-52 is older than the current RGC regime.
On a modern H model is essentially the airframe itself. It's been stripped down to the studs and rebuilt. The B-52H carries up to 20 AGM-86B air-launched cruise missiles externally, plus additional weapons internally, or it can carry the JASSM-ER, a 500-mile standoff missile with a low radar cross-section that navigates autonomously after release. I mean, the technology here is amazing. The B-52 doesn't just enter Iranian airspace, it doesn't need to. It can orbit at altitude outside threat envelopes, open the rotary launcher in the bomb bay, release cruise missiles that fly at low altitude on terrain-following routes into Iran, and the missile finds the targets while the B-52 is turning back or making coffee. I think that thing has an espresso maker, right? If not, they should definitely get one. But the IRGC's air defense network was designed to detect and engage aircraft.
That's the most insane thing USA has done, to make a bomber a fighter jet capable. A cruise missile is a fighter jet thing, but you don't want to fly like 15 fighter jets. So why not just use one B-52 and with like a rotary, like a launcher? that it just like launch one after, and all of them are like high-end, high-quality cruise missiles with a range of 500 kilometers or plus, or like 500 miles or something, with insane precision. And B-52 is launching them. Why not? Even beyond that, Rapid Dragon, just throw a crate there, and all of them are accurate cruise missiles. Why not?
It's never designed to track 20 cruise missiles flying at 500 feet simultaneously from different approach vectors. This is what the B-52's gift is to this campaign. The team reads like this: EA-18G clears the electronic corridor, F-16 delivers precision munitions against the close-in high-value targets that the Growler has now blinded. B-52 standoff could deliver cruise missiles against deep fixed infrastructure that requires mass range. 3 completely different threat vectors arriving simultaneously. Iran's air defense network, already degraded across 7 prior strike packages, is now facing a package from a 70-year-old that's designed to exploit every gap. And Iran's rhetoric is on level 15. I think they're running out of levels for what their rhetoric could be. They're saying that the US's signature is worthless and invalid. The United States committed repeated breaches of the agreement with Tehran. America will face unforgivable.
It's not like United States economy is basically where world's economy is tied to. It's not like dollar is like a gold standard now. Yeah, United States signature is worthless. If that's the case, world economy is worthless. What are you talking about?
Forgettable lessons. That's from Supreme Leader, the cardboard Ayatollah, basically saying that the US broke the MOU when the entire world knows that they just weren't supposed to fire on commercial vessels. That was literally the one thing that you weren't supposed to do. And then they maimed and eliminated 12 mariners. And they're like, it's your fault. We were just trying to create a safety approach for the mariners to have a safe passage. And they were so far south, and there could have been a mine, that we decided to just blow up their ship. It was for them. I mean, the gaslighting here, the way that this could be a bad X, the parallels, guys, it just goes deep. They also said that a significant part of Iran's military capabilities have yet to be used, and if U.S. attacks continue, Iran's response will go beyond the enemy's expectations and could open new fronts. So that might be what they're talking about when they're saying that they're potentially going to do a land invasion into Kuwait. And who knows? They could attempt it.
Did the whole ground
Going to
move?
do a land invasion.
Look at the whole ground is moving. Damn.
Into Kuwait. And who knows? They could attempt it. I mean, the IRGC would attempt anything. Remember, they'll gladly eliminate all of their people to protect the regime. They'll go down with the ship. They'll send the IRGC to their absolute crushing. They don't care. They're just going to want it for some sort of a propaganda win that they would just use with their own people. You made it to the global roundup, my friend. So here's the main story I want to cover. Ukraine hit Moscow's drone supply chain. Wild Berries was on fire. The targeting was coordinated and aimed at the warehouse where Russia's
It looks like a volcano. That's how big of an explosion that is.
drone war gets supplied. Ukraine sent 379 drones into Russian airspace overnight on July 18th and found the logistics layer behind Moscow's entire drone production network. 2 massive Russian logistics centers in the Moscow and Tambov region were struck, including a Wild Berries fulfillment center in the city of Elektrostal, south of Moscow. 8 people fell, more than 60 others were wounded. Zelensky confirmed on X the facilities were used to supply sanctioned components for the production of drones and navigation equipment. Russia's air defenses intercepted 379 Ukraine drones across 19 regions, plus Crimea, the Sea of Azov, the Black Sea, the largest single-night Ukrainian drone deployment of the war. You mentioned the 40 chess strategic analysis section, my friends, so let's talk about what's going on the board right now. The U.S. military just repositioned additional aerial refueling tankers from Ben Gurion Airport to Israeli military bases. Aerial refueling tankers are the invisible force multiplier that determines range. Without them, strike aircraft have a fixed operational ceiling. With them repositioning deep,
To me, it feels like Israelis might increase the bombing now, right? Because of all this, like, they've been surprisingly absent. Let's just say we're hearing about United States doing it, but in the past, when that happened, Israelis were always there doing their own thing. To me, it feels like they're gathering intelligence because their targets are usually people, not locations. So maybe we'll hear about that soon. I don't know. Because Israel is not doing something feels weird, right?
deeper into the theater, The ceiling lifts
significant, I mean.
dramatically. So B-52s can fight anywhere on Earth with aerial refueling, but so can the B-2 Spirit. The B-2 Spirit can fly missions from the continental United States, but it's going to need those aerial refueling tankers. With them being repositioned closer to the conflict, who knows? Is the B-2 Spirit the next thing on the menu? President Trump has said that Pickaxe Mountain is ready for a big fat shot. So strategically, is that coming up? Could that be something that the U.S. does? Just putting the nail.
It's gonna be B2. When you have that kind of like a big target, like if this thing is going away, it's usually B2. Something like B-52 and B-1 as like part of a campaign, multiple bombing, multiple location. But if you have like a prize location, oh, we're gonna blow this thing up, it's gonna be B2.
In the coffin, we'll see how that plays out. But remember that aerial refueling basically is the only way that air power gets enacted. So B-52, B-2s, everything looks ready to go, ready to rock and roll. At this point, there's senior advisors to the Trump administration actually posting video on X of a B-52 flying with F-22s. So will that be the thing that we see come next? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Would love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead.
Yeah, the targets are gonna go up, man. There is no way in hell USA backs down now. They've been bombing for 9-10 days. People died now. Yeah, it's just gonna increase. It's like, yeah, it's insane. See, I told you this a month or two ago. This day is coming. Because it's not about being cynical. It's about being realist. Did anybody ever thought that after all that Iran was gonna sign any deal? Or Iran was going to back off or something? No. So yeah, this is just insane, man. Alright, well, there you go. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.